Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining. So, I have a very pressing issue that I have kind of been, trying to wrap my head around, knowing fully well that this is one thing that has been so persistent as far as the Nigerian workspace or workforce is concerned, most especially as creatives. Now, why I'm saying this is that here in Nigeria, I noticed that there is a pattern or there is a modus operandi as to how employers, you know, treat their employees, especially the creatives in the industry. Now, when I talk about the creatives, I'm talking about like the graphics designers, the video editors, and all whatnot. So, as it stands, you get yeah. Hmm. Hello, thank you for joining. So, like I said, I've had this issue where I noticed a certain pattern, most especially around the Nigerian space. I'm talking about the Nigerian workforce as it relates to creatives, video editors, you know, people that are in the creative industry generally, video editors, graphics designers, videographers, and photographers. Why I'm saying this is that oftentimes I get to see some, I get to see some of these. Just hold on. So oftentimes I discover that there is this pattern that is akin to Nigeria, especially our employers and how they relate to creatives. Now you get to see like employments where people, you know, an advert rolled out, and in the course of that, they will be like, okay, that we are looking for a creative, and most especially like video editor that I am a part of. You will hear something like, we need a video editor, ability to do this, and the ability to do that, you know, giving you all the responsibility and all whatnot. But still, at the end of the day, you get to, you know, see that after listing everything, they will be so detailed. Like when they say they will be so detailed in listing out the things that they are expecting from you as a prospective applicant or a prospective employee. But one thing I get to find out is that at the end of the day, so many things are just not sitting right with that application. And then tomorrow, if anything goes wrong, it looks as if the person they employed is really not suitable for that job or is not delivering as they are supposed to. And that leaves me with this idea where you will come to your your placement or the advertisement, and you'll be like, I need a video editor, let's say, with 3 years or 2 years of professional, of at least professional experience. Then you will go ahead again to say ability for you to handle cameras, use gimbal, edit videos, edit pictures, take pictures, do graphics design, must have knowledge in content creation and the ability for you to run social media content and even manage social media. Now this now leaves me with the question, what exactly do you want? What exactly do you want? And do you even know the funny part of this whole thing is that when they finish this whole listing, they will now leave out the part where they think that you need to know something about. Because tell me why you are going to take a full page in order for you to itemize what you will be needing from this prospective employer or the applicant. Then when you are done, you've listed out your responsibilities, the roles, the whatsoever, blah 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 blah. And then when it now gets to the point where you're supposed to tell the person, okay, this is what your remuneration is going to be like, you will now decide to skip that. I don't know, like, who really does that? Who really does that? Like, you just feel like there is no need telling anyone about it. Like, there is no need for anybody to know, right? But one thing you have also failed to understand is that while you are doing these things, you are also setting yourself up. Because why I say that you are setting yourself up is that you get to list all these things. Now, it now gives room where you need a graphic designer, you need social media manager, you need a video editor, you need, I even saw one that says knowledge of data management and data something something, and I'm like, hold up, like what exactly do you want? Because at the end of the day, anybody can just come out and say, well, I can do that, and from that I can do that, that is where you now start saying problem. Because they've already told you that they can do it. You will now end up, because you are looking for all in one, like, in quotes, you are looking for all in one. And then when the person decides now to join uh, join in the whole stuff, and then you now start looking at it that this person is not living up to their responsibility, or they don't know what they are doing. The thing there is that even you yourself, that that is employing that person, you too, you have a problem. You have a problem. Let's tell ourselves the truth. You have a serious problem too. Because let's see it from this angle. If really you were keen in hiring the best hands, right? Then that means you possibly, you should in fact have known that it's not just okay for you wanting one person to do the whole job. That is totally and totally wrong. The job of a video editor is totally different from the job of a graphics designer. So it is also different from the job of a social media manager, right? So the reason is that in an attempt for you to get somebody who is going to do all this whole thing, you end up falling into the trap, or falling into wrong hands, or dedicating that very job to the wrong person. Why do I say this? Oftentimes we've seen this play out. As as an organization, one thing you can always do is make sure that before you start talking about recruiting anything that has to do with creative, you should know that these creative guys, that that they put in a lot of work to get to where they are at the moment, And because you find yourself in a place where you get to employ them for their services, does not give you the room or does not give you the impetus for you to, try to take advantage of them by wanting them to do everything, because through that, what it means is that you are not going to get the best out of them. What will it cost you if you decide to just take up the responsibility of, you know getting different other creatives who will be specialists in that field and be able to give you what you want. Now, let's say I am a video editor. You try, give an employment to maybe a graphic designer who is specialized in your graphics design, and then from there you can also give the work of a social media manager to someone who is, conversant with social media management. But no, the average Nigerian employer would want you to do everything, and everything, and then at the end of the day they want to wear you out. And then even at the end of the day, the question is, how much are these people being paid? And not just about even being paid. The one that even angers me the most is that they will finish this whole stuff, and then nobody is even paying you anything that is commensurate to what you're supposed to. That is pure wickedness. That is pure wickedness. Like, I don't see the reason why you should even come up with the idea of wanting these people to do this, do that, and at the end of the day, what they are getting does not equate to their input. You understand? And that is why when they put out some of these applications, I see some of them, I just skip. Even when some people send me some of those adverts and they're like, see if you can apply, I'll be like, there is no need, because from the onset, looking at all the things that they need, one person shouldn't be doing that. Like, that is wrong. That's all shades of wrong. One person shouldn't be doing everything. If I say I'm a video editor, that is what I am. My own is possibly to edit your videos, make it clean, make it stand out, make it, be able to draw your clients, or depending on what you are using your social media to do. That should be your work. But no, what they want somebody that is going to be one two fits all, and at the end of the day they are going to give you peanuts. And even the one that even makes me mad is that they will finish listing this whole stuff, and then they will miss out telling you how much that is involved. Why am I saying this? You look at it from this angle. Now they are trying to, like, cut out the number of people that are going to apply for that job. So what do? They take their time to itemize, to state, to categorically spell out everything that is needed from that prospective employee. But one thing that they will never do is to reveal the price. I don't know whether the prices are meant to be hidden, whether the prices are meant to be hidden, like, is a taboo for you to, you know maybe it's a taboo for you to kind of know about your, maybe it's a taboo for you to know about your expectant, your like the salary that you're supposed to receive. So I am saying this out of, in fact, from a place of pain, knowing fully well that this is something that we have suffered over time, and it is high time we start, you know, structuring things the way they should be. Because you want me to work as your video editor, but then you still want me to do the job of a graphic designer. You want me to do the job. Did you even hear the name that you just called it? Like, can you just take a minute to listen to yourself? You said graphics designer. You call this one a video editor, not like it doesn't have a name. But then you want a place where, or you want someone who, when he comes, is going to do the whole job. And then this job, you do not even see it as something that when you are paying, you are going to pay something that is commensurate to their input. You see where that problem? And then at the end of the day, you think that this person is incompetent, the person doesn't know what he's doing. Why don't you give the person his area of specialization? Pay him for what you employed him for, and not be wanting everything from him or her. That is totally wrong. That is all shades of wrong. So it is my own humble opinion that if you are an employer who needs the service of any creative, please be ready to pay for their time, for their skill, and please don't overburden them. Don't overburden them. That is one of the wrongest thing you can do as an employer. And again, let me also say this thing: Nigerian employers, they most times think that this idea about giving you job or employing you means that they are doing you a favor. Now, I will say it and I will stand by it that as an employer and me as an employee, that you giving me employment does not in any way mean that you are doing me a favor. Rather, it's a mutual beneficial contract, meaning that there is something you are gaining from me and I'm also gaining from you. Meaning that there is something you are exchanging your money for that I'm giving you. That could be value, that could be service, that could be whatsoever that you want to like call it, depending on what you employ that person to do. But please stop having this notion, stop having this feeling that your ability for you to employ someone is you doing them a favor. Why do I say that? Now you find out that some employers, the month we end, and then in the course of you wanting for somebody to pay you your money, they will believe that you must have to bow to them in order for them, or that if you give them the money that you have to be very appreciative. One thing they do not know is that if if I do not do that job, you as the employer will not be able to also do it. I don't know if I'm making sense. If I, as an employer, do not come to take up that position, if the people which you employ in that office do not show up to run that program, that means the company is going to fold. So what that means is that I have decided to dedicate my time, I've decided to dedicate my skill, and I bring it into your company to help your company grow, right? So at the end of the month, what you are paying me is something that is going to be like, okay, for your time, for your skill, this is what you hold. Now, an average Nigerian employer, what they see it is that if I give you money at the end of the month, if I'm paying you your salary, I am doing you a favor. Madam, can I humbly tell you, please, that is not, I do not mean to sound disrespectful whatsoever, but truth be told, you are not doing that employee a favor. And for that person working, they are also not doing you a favor. The thing there is that there is always an exchange. There is something like there is like an exchange of service. What you are paying as an employer is you are paying for the time, you are paying for the skill, right? Then meanwhile, the employee is also paying you by giving you their time and their skill. You see? So it's supposed to be a mutual beneficial stuff, and not something that anyone thinks that he or she has an upper hand. You are saying you are trying to like feel that you are the god over all because you are the one paying their salary. The thing there is that even if you decide to say that without you they can, all they can do is they will still leave the company. So just imagine that you have over 120 staffs in your company, and then you give them this same attitude that if not for me, nothing will happen, that I'm doing you a favor, and all of them, that 120, everybody decided to leave. I hope you can be able to sustain that company and still man it and still hold it. So meaning that if you can't do that, then that means you need these people. And how do you do that? You are exchanging money in order for you to get their service and their time. So let's start changing some of this our mindset. You want to employ a graphics designer, you want to employ a video editor, you want to employ a social media manager, you want to employ a videographer, you want to employ a data analyst, you want to employ whatsoever. At the end of the day, you want one person to do that job. in the course of doing the job, what we are paying is not even like quarter of what they are supposed to get even for one row. So then at the end of the day, you see that it is not good. It is not good. And again, when you end up putting out some of this your advert placement that you're looking for employees, please try as much as possible, save us the time. Just the way you will take time and use one page to write all the job description or whatnot, please, when you finish writing all those things, just it won't even take one line, just a quarter line, and write the price that is attached to that work. Why I am saying this, most of you might not see it as anything, but why I am saying this is because when you look at it from this angle, you will see that you as the employer, you have just done something. You have used that just one page in order for you to cut away some people that are not right for that position, right? By limiting the number of applicants. So you have taken the time to shove out people that you do not want, so that the essence of recruiting people will be so easy for you. But then you still do not consider it that it is necessary that, to be fair to whoever is going to come, for them to also save time from their own end, so that they will know the jobs that they can take or the jobs they do not need to take. Because I still say it that it goes this way: where you finish putting out this advert, now look at me wanting to go for a job. Now most times I will have to either prepare from my house, logistics, I have to prepare, I'll have to come to the venue, that is where you've already scheduled for the interview. Most times it has to be like a far journey where you have to take transportation from here to here, enter from here to here, enter from here to here, just for you to arrive. Now you'll be asking yourself, how much have I spent? Then when that employee comes for that interview, what it does now is that they will start the proper interrogation. Can I see all this one, all that one? Once you are done, now even to some extent, they tend to even look at it from the angle that if an employee, a prospective employee, asks the question like, how much am I expecting, they tend to see it as rude. They tend to see it that this person is only being money conscious. But truth be told, what did the person come here in the first place if not for money? Now that aside, now what you now need to do is that when the person comes, the person finishes this interview, and at the end of the day the person have to still pay the same money for them to go back home. You see that what you have just done. Now let's assume that this thing didn't go on. That means they've lost that money, they've lost the time, they've lost all the efforts. So you see why it is always good. Also save their time. If you are going to pay 20 naira for this role, write it under salary, whatsoever, 20 naira. So that if they look at it and it is something they can do, they will, from their own comfort zone, be able to, know that, okay, this is one thing I want to apply, or something I don't want to apply. But instead of you leaving it vacant, instead of you trying to make it look like that, why should they even, then that means you are being very exploitative. So please, let's learn to change this attitude. It's not going to do us any good. Not now, not ever, not even tomorrow. Nigerian employers, you can do better. You can do better. And when you employ anyone, please give them the right environment for them to flourish. These are people who are working to make ends meet, to take care of their daily bread and all that. The least you can do is to give them the peace of mind that they deserve. You get? So that being said, there is nothing much. Thank you for joining. If you are seeing this for the very first time, please, this is just a live session where we discuss why do Nigerian employers exploit creatives, and we've been able to marshal out some of the points as to the things that they are doing that is not right. So, but I believe I'm still going to be able to do this. So do make sure to join me for further discussion. And if you haven't still connected with me at this point, please do make sure to connect with me by subscribing, hit the like button, and also hit the bell icon, then follow or subscribe. Then you can also join me on TikTok at Pentouch Galleria and on Facebook at Pentouch Galleria. Till I see you again, remember this is your one stop channel for all things multimedia. Till I see you again, do have a pleasant evening.